Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. The NBA trade deadline has just wrapped up. It's been a couple days now since it's been wrapped up. There have been some massive and huge trades that have happened since I did my last video when Luka Doncic got traded. So we're going to be grading every major NBA trade. So not all of the NBA trades, but just the main ones like De'Aaron Fox trade, Jimmy Butler trade, the Chris Middleton trade, and a couple of other ones. So please do like the video and subscribe if you are going to enjoy, and we'll get straight into it. So we'll start off with kind of the elephant in the room trade. Obviously, it's almost been a week since this has actually happened now, which is crazy. But Luka Doncic obviously traded for Anthony Davis, Max Christie. Lakers get back Maxi Khaliba, and they also get back who else? Markieff Morris. Sorry. So yeah, look, as a Lakers fan, I've already made a video on this, so we'll just fly through it really quickly. For the Lakers, I'm going to give it an A. Now, I feel like this is definitely a good trade. Obviously, Lakers do lose Anthony Davis, who was definitely a top 5 center in the league. They did replace him with the Williams guy, which I will get to soon. But as for the Mavericks, look, I'd probably give this a B minus. I get that you get AD, you get Kyrie Irving, you've got Max Christie, who's a young gun, which they kind of need because, by the way, having Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, who else is on there? Klay Thompson, who really is on and off. Like, he's not even shooting that well anymore. It's just not really the best. Their future's not looking good. They don't have many young guys. They did bring in Max Christie, though, obviously, and they still have definitely some young centers. Like, obviously, they've got Derek Lively. So their future isn't looking too good. That's why I'll give this one a B plus for the Mavs. But yeah, look, I think that they're definitely trying to win now. And Nico Harrison, the GM who made the trade, believes that obviously they needed a guy like Anthony Davis for defense. Fair enough, but to be fair, the Mavs were only like 11th in the league for defense, which isn't bad, but you don't trade away your young star. He's going to probably be dominating the league in the next few years just to improve your defense by a few spots. But that's my opinions. Now, I do get why they kind of did the trade, obviously, because the reasons I just stated, but I'll give this one a B+. plus. I certainly feel like it could have been better for the Mavericks, and they probably should have got more for Luka, but as a Lakers fan, I am definitely happy about this. And so a day later, we did also get another trade that De'Aaron Fox got traded to the San Antonio Spurs. Yes, De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama are on the same team. They've already played 2 games together as of recording. They did just lose to the Hornets today. Now, there is actually quite a bit in this trade, so I'll read it out now. Where are we? So yeah, obviously the Spurs get De'Aaron Fox. Now, the Bulls and the Kings were also in this trade because I believe, yeah, De'Aaron Fox obviously gets traded away from the Sacramento Kings, and which means that they do get Zach LaVine. So they pretty much just get a poor man's version of De'Aaron Fox, to be fair. So as for the Spurs, look, I'm giving this an A. I definitely think this is an A. You can't really. I could give it an A plus, but we'll set it at an A right now. This is obviously going to be an insane duo, and even though they did lose to the Hornets in a game they probably shouldn't have lost to, I think that this is what the Spurs need to be a legitimate playoffs contenders. So I think they've definitely made the right move here. As for the Kings, I'd probably give this a D minus because obviously you do lose De'Aaron Fox. Now you bring in Zach LaVine, who this season has actually been hooping towards the start of the season, but it's not anything that they probably could have got another center, but Zach LaVine's still a very good player, so I'll give it a D for the Kings. And as for the Bulls, well, they get 2 unprotected first-round picks. So, as for the Bulls, you can't really say much on this. It's probably an F, to be honest with you. Like, they've lost Zach LaVine. They're pretty much in the stage of rebuilding around Josh Giddey and that Muzella guy who looks really strong, who actually could have a chance of winning Rookie of the Year. So, I'll give this one an F for the Bulls, a D for the Kings, and an A for the Spurs. Moving on now to the Bucks-Wizards trade. So, on Wednesday, the Milwaukee Bucks sent Chris Middleton to the Washington Wizards for Kyle Kuzma in a multiplayer trade. So, obviously, the Bucks ended up getting Kuzma, and they traded away Chris Middleton. Now, I actually thought this was a decent trade. I think this is definitely good for Washington because, believe it or not, the Wizards have won 3 games in a row after having that horrible 6-41 record. They've now won a few games in a row, and Chris Middleton, I believe, hasn't debuted for them yet. So, yeah, they get Chris Middleton. The Bucks get back Kyle Kuzma. This trade, look, I probably give it a positive for both teams. As for the Wizards, I'll give this one a B plus. I think it's good. I think they need someone like Chris Middleton to kind of just role play around those young guys like Alex Sarr, who's just got injured. You know, a couple of the younger guys that are on that roster. Obviously, Jonas Valanciunas, I believe, has been also traded from the Wizards. So they definitely need someone like Chris Middleton. Now, as for the Bucks, they'll get Kuzma. I'll probably give this a B plus again. It's just an even trade, to be honest with you. I did think that maybe they could have given up someone else on that list. I'm not too sure who, but obviously giving out Chris Middleton is he's a pretty decent player, and giving him up, I was a little bit shocked, but I still think they get Kyle Kuzma, who can give you 30 points a game, maybe once every 5 games. So he can still get you those 15 points. So he is a versatile player and a not bad shooter. So not a bad from the Bucks. Actually, I probably would say though that the Wizards do just win this trade, even though I have given both of the teams a B plus. But yeah, I think both these teams get a B plus, and it's going to be interesting to see over the next few weeks how this plays out. Another kind of surprising trade, not surprising because we knew that the New Orleans Pelicans were either going to trade away Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram because they're obviously, I don't know, it's kind of like a little mini rebuild, just rebuilding around Zion. But I actually didn't think the Pelicans were going to make any noise this season, not this off season, in this trade deadline. I thought this would just be another, sort of one of those years for the Pelicans where they just don't do nothing. But they did. They traded away Brandon Ingram to the Toronto Raptors, and they got back from the New Orleans Pelicans. They traded him to the Raptors, and the Pelicans get Bruce Brown, Kenny Olynyk, and 2 first-round draft picks. So you take that if you're the Pelicans. I think it was about time they traded away Brandon Ingram. There's just no point keeping him. He's too injured, and he should be on a team like Toronto who, slightly ahead of the Pelicans maybe without the Pelicans' injuries. But look, as for the Raptors, I'll definitely give this one an A. I do think that getting Brandon Ingram and Scotty Barnes, that should be a pretty good duo. Definitely top 10 duos in the NBA, although there actually aren't that many now. They're getting moved around. But it should be fun to watch the Raptors with Ingram and Barnes, obviously. Two rarely young players. Ingram's about 28, just sort of moving on to the end of his prime. Still got a few years left, and Scotty Barnes, he's like 24, so he's getting into his prime. But as for the Pelicans, I think it's the right move. I think they should have done this. Probably would say it's just slightly below the Raptors' grade, though. I'll give them a B minus because obviously we do understand where they are moving forward in their team, kind of mini rebuild. So I thought this trade was kind of necessary, and they actually did something. So yeah, look, I'll give them a B minus here, the Pelicans. So now we will get to the Mark Williams trade. So coming from a Lakers fan perspective again, I've just watched his highlights. I think this guy's going to be awesome. I think that we needed a center. Now, obviously, he's not Anthony Davis quite yet, but this guy is averaging 15.6 points per game. He's averaging 9.6 rebounds a game. He's almost averaging a double-double in rebounds, and his block rate is pretty good as well, averaging 1.2 blocks. So that means he usually gets 1 or 2 blocks a game, which is what we need in replace of AD. Now, obviously, he's not Anthony Davis level yet, but this guy's still young. I think he's only like 24, and again, this is really good for our future. I was a bit skeptical at this trade, but obviously because we didn't have any defense. But now we've got him. I'm not saying the defense is just going to be automatically AD level. Like, it's obviously not. But, this guy can help out under the rim. He can dominate in the paint by the looks of it. And it's going to be really exciting to see how he goes. Now, we do trade away Dalton Knecht, who some people might be surprised by that. We also trade away Cam Reddish. Some people might be surprised at that because Dalton Knecht, as you know, he's a young gun. He can have games where he can either break out, but the downside of him is he can go on really poor slumps. Like, I remember he shot 0 for like 8 or 0 for like 9. Probably wasn't 0 for 9. It was probably like 1 for 8 or something in a game, and it just looked horrible. Like, this guy can either break out. We saw him break out in that game against the Suns where he scored like 20 straight points, or he can just have a poor one. Now, obviously, we do trade away him and we are trying to build for the future as well as win now. So, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that, but I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. I think that, Dalton, credit to him, he's done a lot this season. But the Hornets also do benefit from this getting him. They also get Cam Reddish, I believe. As well as some pick swaps. So obviously, the Lakers do give away a lot of picks, which, again, I'm not too happy about. But still, we get back Mark Williams. We need a center like him. He's probably a top 8 center when he's not injured. That's the only thing, too, about Mark Williams, is that he can get injured quite often, but when he is at his best, he's a great player. Just trust me. So I think you should be excited for him as a Lakers fan coming through. And as for the Lakers, again, I'll give this one a B plus, almost an A. But we don't know if he is going to be how injured he is going to be. Obviously, like I just said. As for the Hornets, I think this is a good trade. I think that you get Cam Reddish, who can get you a couple steals per game, gets rebounds. Not too good offensively, but yeah. And Dalton Connect, who can just go on absolute shooting slumps or shooting forms. So I'll give this one a B minus for the Hornets. I think that they need these players tap out with their defense and their offense a bit. So I do think the Lakers slightly win this trade, but the Hornets get back some pick swaps. So you could really argue for any side here. Another trade I thought I'd include was the Caleb Martin trade for the Quentin Grimes trade. Now, obviously, this is a trade involving the Dallas Mavericks and the Philadelphia 76ers. So the Mavs get Caleb Martin and the Sixers get Quentin Grimes. Now, Caleb Martin's stats this season, he's been averaging 9.1 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 2.3 assists. So he's 29 years of age. So I think this is also another good trade for the Mavericks. Again, kind of a player that's kind of moving towards the end of his prime, but he's still going good. I feel like I think this is a good pickup for the Dallas Mavericks. As for Quentin Grimes, he's another good player. I'll just look at his stats here, but he's been going really well. As well. So this is definitely good for Philly because, obviously at the moment they've just been rattled with injuries. So yeah, he's been averaging 10.3 points per game, 3.8 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and he's been shooting 46.5% from field goal range. So this is, again, a good trade for both teams here. Now, I probably do feel like this favors Philly just slightly, just because Quentin Grimes is slightly younger. So as for Philly, I'll give this one a B plus, and as for Dallas, I'd probably give this a B minus, or actually we'll give it a solid B. So yeah, thought I'd just include that trade in there. Moving on to our major last trade. Obviously, you just couldn't leave this out. The Jimmy Butler trade. Jimmy Butler got traded to the Golden State Warriors on Thursday. Now, obviously, the Warriors get Jimmy Butler, but the Warriors do actually lose quite a bit of players here. So the Heat get Carl Anderson, Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, who is a great defender, a 2025 first-round pick from Golden State, and it is top 10 protected, which means it will be a top 10 pick for the Miami Heat. So, obviously the Warriors do win this trade. I feel like, obviously, if you just knew he was going to get traded, he wasn't happy there. Now, it is going to be interesting, though, for the Warriors, because they've given up, not only have they given up heaps of players, but as we know, Draymond and Jimmy Butler are two guys that have kind of had issues in the past between them two. And I just don't know how they're going to get on together with a team. So it does slightly bump this trade down a bit, but it's still a good trade. I think, the Warriors get him over the Suns. The Suns could have easily got Jimmy Butler. I think he even requested a trade to the Suns in particular, but the Warriors said, nope, we've got a better deal to offer you, and they do go get him. So Steph and Jimmy Butler will be a pretty good duo now. Steph has another backup. Again, their defense will struggle. They've still got Jonathan Kuminga, who I do rate, but the Warriors' defense, it hasn't been good for most of the season ever since they had that. They've had that good start, but ever since then, their defense has fallen away. And obviously, they lose Andrew Wiggins, who is another good defender. Now, I definitely will say the Warriors win this. I'll give the Warriors a B plus on this trade. We'll give them a B. It's definitely not an A because, Jimmy Butler, he's like 32 years old. He is coming towards the end of his prime. He hasn't been going well this season. Obviously, that's because he's been trying to get out of Miami. But we just don't know how he's going to play. Is he going to come off of that. Also, I forgot to mention Dennis Schroeder has also been gone. I feel bad for Dennis Schroeder, kind of like Patty Mills, who also got traded to the Clippers. He's just been going everywhere. He went from the Lakers to the Jazz to the Warriors. Now he's off to the Pistons. That guy's packing his bag almost every second month. And they also give up Lindy Waters. So the Warriors have given up quite a bit. So this is a massive trade, massive deal here. But as for the Heat, I'll probably give them B. Actually, no, we'll give them a C plus. Get Andrew Wiggins, big guy. They get Davion Mitchell and Carl Anderson, which are pretty good role players. So yeah, we'll give the Heat a C. First C of the video. As for the Pistons, Dennis Schroeder and Lindy Waters. Dennis Schroeder's a great player. Great versatile player. Can get down low, take those nice layups. He can get to the foul line. He's a good player, and he gets quite a few steals. And Lindy Waters as well. He's obviously not as high as Schroeder, but as for the Pistons, I'll give them a C as well, C plus as well. So the Miami Heat will get a C. The Detroit Pistons will get a C plus, and the Jimmy Butler trade to the Warriors will get a B. Well, that is going to wrap up this video. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like and subscribe button. Yeah, we'll see you in the next video.